Hey friends, what's up? Ash here with Gents. Hope that you guys are doing awesome today or tonight whenever you're watching the video. Let's face it, the average Joe out there, your average cologne lover, fragrance aficionado, is probably wearing Dior Sauvage or Bleu de Chanel. One of those heavy hitters, one of those big boys where you walk into Sephora or wherever you buy fragrances at retail and the sales associate walks up to you and goes,
"Have you smelled this?"
Blast you right in the face. Just no care for you whatsoever, no empathy, assaulting your senses with whatever their bestseller is. Then you got to hit them with the "I know more than you" and walk away. But anyway, that's what your average guy is wearing. Today I want to go over with you guys 10 choices that I think you could wear that are under the radar that your average Joe does not know about unless they're also into fragrances pretty heavily. That's going to have you smelling more opulent, exquisite, better than they will. So let's jump into it. Let's check these choices out. So I have here technically 11. I lied to you guys, it's 11, not 10. 10 is just a nice round number, but it's 11. And these are all designer fragrances. In the future, the near future, I plan on doing one around niche fragrances. That one is gonna be much easier to do. Got a mix of warm weather and cool weather fragrances. We're starting off with a warm weather fragrance. It's from Bentley, and it is Silverlake. This one got a good amount of hype, and for good reason. It smells similar to Acqua di Gio Essenza, which has been discontinued for a while, commands a hefty premium on the secondhand market, and is a lot of people's favorite Acqua di Gio release. So to have a Bentley For Men fragrance come out and smell similar to that and be readily available made a lot of people scoop this up. Now at full retail, this is $110, which is not as good of a deal, especially when you consider that Bentley fragrances from discounters are typically heavily marked off and not very expensive at all. So if at all possible, that would be the best time to scoop this up, but it is one of those fragrances that from time to time is not available at discounters because people scoop it up and it sells out. So this one has citrus, mint, violet leaf, and musk as some of the notes in the fragrance. Like I said, a similarity to Acqua di Gio Essenza. So it has that DNA, that scent profile that so many people love, so many people are attracted to, making this a big time compliment puller, and it has good performance as well. Next, let's go to a fragrance that's best in cool weather. We're gonna go with Lalique White in Black. Now, whereas the last fragrance had a similarity to Acqua di Gio Essenza, this one has a similarity to Parfums de Marly Layton. And as I said, the Acqua di Gio scent profile, scent DNA, commands attention, gets big time compliments. Guess what? So does Layton's, which means so does this one. This one has cardamom, lavender, and a good dose of vanilla to it. It smells very classy and sexy at the same time. It does run into the same issue that Silverlake does though, which is from time to time, White and Black is difficult to find at discounters because when it does pop up, people will buy it out quick. And it also has a stupid gimmick where it comes with a little pencil and you're supposed to draw on the bottle like it's a chalkboard, but it doesn't work all that well and it's kind of dumb. But the fragrance itself, like most Laliques, great quality for a great price when it is at discounters. Next up, a fragrance from 1996. Going back in time ever so slightly here, the fragrance is Keton Men. Now the bottle is really jank looking, very simplistic, not too much going on. The cap, super uber cheap. It weighs nothing. It doesn't even register. So this is absolutely the type of fragrance that if you ever saw it in a store, you would walk right by it and not look twice. It looks like absolutely nothing worth knowing about. It has an interesting note breakdown, including notes like pineapple, violet, and musk. And when you hear those three notes, you might not think of those three notes really working together in harmony, but this one does it really well. For a while, people would compare this to the smell of Green Irish Tweed from Creed. And you could say it's in the same style, but it doesn't really smell like Green Irish Tweed. It is though a very fresh, clean, classy fragrance with green nuances throughout with a nice fruity freshness off the top. It's been kind of an under the radar fragrance community hidden gem type of scent for years and years, where people in the community have talked about it and talked it up at times, but it's never really caught on in any kind of big way. So especially if you're a guy that's middle-aged or older, something like this is gonna work wonders and have you smelling like $1,000,000. After that, an expensive one from Gucci, Intense Oud. Now this one has gotten a decent amount of hype in the community. I've talked about it a bunch. Other YouTubers have talked about it. People on forums have talked about it. On Facebook have talked about it. It has a similarity to Nascimado's Black Afgano, but a lot of people will tell you this is actually a little bit better, maybe more wearable. And you do definitely get more of the fragrance since this is a 90 milliliter bottle as compared to Nascimado's 30 mils. And that's not a shot at Nascimado, fantastic house. I guess the drawback for this one is that it is ultimately, at the end of the day, a Gucci. And so some people are going to discount it a little bit and say, well, I'm not gonna pay that for a Gucci bottle, you know, a Gucci fragrance. I'm not gonna do it. Now, maybe if it was like an Alchemist Garden release from Gucci, you would say yes, but just this Intense Oud? Yeah, because it's not cheap. Joma Shop has it at, I think, $145. So that, as of this video, I believe, is the least expensive place to pick it up, and $145 is a bit pricey. Shameless plug, if you use the code GENTS8 at Joma Shop, you'll save yourself $8 off any order over $110. So now it's just $137. Wow, so much cheaper. It is an awesome scent though, and as far as designer oud fragrances go, it's absolutely one of the best. Let's get this next one out of the way because it is also a designer oud fragrance with oud in the name. It's from Salvatore Ferragamo, and it's just straight up Ferragamo oud. This one has basically all the masculine notes that you could think of. It's got rum, it has leather, it has tobacco, it's got oud, additional woody notes. I go back and forth between hating and really liking the bottle. It's that Ferragamo bottle design where it looks like the bottle has been grabbed and sort of twisted. So it gives it this interesting look to it, and I like that. The cap I'm kind of iffy on, but really it's this gradient. It ends up looking cheap and cheesy. I don't know why, but that's just how it strikes me. Maybe it's because at the bottom the coloration isn't deep or rich enough, at least when you see it in person. I don't know. It's a stupid thing to get hung up on, but here we are. But ultimately that matters not a bit, not one iota. It's all about the fragrance, and the fragrance in here is really good. Now, admittedly, when I first smelled this, I was not maybe blown away. Thought it was nice, but this is one of those scents that did grow on me more over time, and it's got a bit of a similarity to Golden Dollop from Xerjoff, which is much more expensive. Now, I don't own that bottle from Xerjoff. I only have a little spray sample, but I may get it in the future. We'll see. Regardless, that Ferragamo, solid stuff. Next up, one from Drakkar, Drakkar Intense. Now, this fragrance I really anticipated. Really wanted it. Huge fan of Drakkar Noir that I am. When Drakkar Intense was announced, I knew I had to get it. And I really enjoy that it maintains that cheapness of the look of the bottle from Drakkar Noir. The fragrance itself, I think, smells freaking awesome, especially the mid. Oh, dude, while you're walking around and you catch whiffs of this stuff, it is amazing for the price that you pay. Admittedly, it's got a throwback feel to it, a throwback style to it. So if you're not a fan of Drakkar Noir or the original Drakkar, then this may not be for you. It is more modern than those because of the sweetness that you're gonna find in here, but it still has that similarity. Where I ran into an issue with Drakkar Intense was the performance. Off my skin, it was not anything to write home about, and that kind of bummed me out. So that was the big drawback. Drakkar Intense was not quite intense enough for me. But I will say that in further wearings of the fragrance, it has performed a bit better. So I'm gonna walk that back a little bit and say that I was maybe preemptive with saying that the performance was complete and utter garbage trash. It's not amazing off my skin, but it is certainly better now than when I first talked about it. Next, it's a Trussardi. It is Blue Vibe. This is another one that I thought sucked when it came out. I did not like this a bit. When I did my first impressions on this fragrance, it was just kind of flat and heavy and uninteresting and just kind of something I hated. Yeah. This is the type of fragrance that's not gonna blow everybody away the first time they smell it. Some people are gonna really be drawn to it. Other people are gonna think what I thought, that it's a little iffy. If you give it a chance and you work with it though, it may grow on you and become something that you really like that flies way under the radar. Because I can tell you these Trussardi fragrances, when I looked them up on Macy's, when I sorted by bestsellers, they were like right toward the bottom of the entire website at least the original Riflesso. I don't know if they had Blue Vibe. They may have, but they were way down there. Nobody was buying these. The original Trussardi, by the way, a bit similar to La Nuit de l'Homme and an awesome cheap fragrance. Blue Vibe, a little bit harder to wear. You would think by Blue Vibe being the name of the flanker that it would be a blue fragrance, right? That would make sense, but that's not what this is. It has amberwood, yes, so it has that facet that you're gonna find in a ton of blue fragrances out there, but instead this one has rum and hazelnut playing prominent notes in the fragrance. And that hazelnut will let you draw a little connection between this one and some of the other fragrances that have come out over the past few years. Hazelnut, chestnut, caramel, toffee, those notes becoming very popular here lately. Now one from Hermes, criminally overlooked, Voyage Hermes. And this one is the Parfum version of the fragrance. The bottle, a little bit love it or hate it. So it sits like this and then you flip it around and you can spray it and then flip it back for storage. These little buttons right here where it says Hermes, they have a propensity to pop off. Thankfully, it hasn't on this bottle, but on my previous bottle, it had. I think this fragrance smells absolutely killer. It's got a tea note, it has a bit of citrus, spices, it's very fresh, it's bright, it's brisk, slightly herbal, a little bit green, but not overly so. Vague similarity to something like Declaration by Cartier, but this is of a higher quality, in my opinion, much more wearable, more modern smelling. A little bit of musk and woods as it dries down. This is a great fragrance that just doesn't really get all that much love anymore. Then let's go with one that you can wear to the club or out on the town, something sweet, a little bit loud, an attention grabber, a compliment puller, that type of scent. It's from Carolina Herrera, 212 VIP Black. So the booze note in here is absinthe, which is not something that you see used all that often in designer fragrances. You've also got lavender in here. You have vanilla, good amount of it. So that's going to give you that sweetness, that sex appeal, because so many people do love a sweet, warm fragrance, especially in cooler weather. This one, especially off the top, has a bit of an effervescence to it. So it jumps off your skin, it sparkles. Some people have drawn comparisons to Pure Excess from Paco Rabanne with this fragrance. So I'd say if you do like scents of that style, then you should like this one. Another good thing with 212 VIP Black is the performance. It's really nice. So it's gonna last a long time. It's gonna project well. As I said, during cooler weather months, that one shines. Now let's class it up a little bit with this interesting bottle design, L'Envol de Cartier. It is an interesting bottle design that, as I have said numerous times, I absolutely friggin' hate. It looks great. It's very unique. And every time that I hold it, I just feel like, ooh, that's fragile, because it's like a cloche almost that sits over top the bottle. So you have this thin glass around the bottle in the middle. And every time I bring this up, I do have to say this is not the only bottle style. They do have a more traditional bottle style, which I would go for nowadays. When I bought this though, when it first came out, this was the style. And this is the Eau de Parfum. There's also an Eau de Toilette version of this fragrance. Do like the atomizer though. Pretty cool. It's like a step up to the Terre d'Hermes version of atomizers, where you kind of just pull it and slide it down, spray it and put it back up. Some of the notes in here include honey, iris, and gaiac wood, and it smells awesome. Really sweet, very classy. The sweetness here, though, not sharp. It's very smooth and not heavy, but with really good depth to it, where it doesn't just smell, you know, all top. Because sometimes you'll smell these sweet fragrances, like very bubblegummy sweet, and it comes across almost, you know, sharp, like it hits your nose hard. This one's really smooth. The iris definitely helps the honey, giving it a little additional depth. It lends a touch of powder as well, but it's not too powdery. Then it has this great woodiness that sits underneath everything. As I said, that one, very classy. And then last but not least, lucky number 11 here, it's Dolce & Gabbana's The One Royal Night. Now, I would say The One Luminous Night, but that is still really hard to find in the US. The One Royal Night, not a problem. You can find that at most discounters pretty easily. So this takes the one and really kicks it up a notch, makes it a little bit more interesting, and makes it a little bit woodier here as well. Good amount of cardamom in here, sandalwood, cedar, and amber. The One Royal Night really shines once again in cool weather. So this is basically, if you want to have a fragrance that has that wearability, that compliment factor that the one Eau de Parfum has, but you kind of want to flex on people a little bit. You want to have it be a little bit more interesting, have a little bit more push, have it be a little bit more exclusive, because it says it right on the bottle, exclusive edition. So that's what this is, the One Royal Night. So easy to wear, but those little changes, those little touches take it to the next level. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for your support. Please stay safe out there, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. And like I said, soon we'll do a niche version of this, but I have no clue which 10 to pick. Not Aventus, I guess. See you guys later.